Prime Minister James Marape was challenged on May 25th, 2024 when 18 members of his ruling party, Pangu Party, defected to the opposition. Led by the Finance Minister and member for VONC Reinbo Paita, the 18 members, including 6 ministers, said the move was necessary for the good of the country. The 18 camped at the Sanctuary Hotel at Guinea. The opposition MPs from the Crown Hotel camp went over to reaffirm support. Prime Minister James Marape, in receiving the news of the move by the members of his government, said he respects the decision of the MPs and state ministers. The Prime Minister maintained confidence in the remaining MPs and Pangu's coalition partners.
I really appeal to our country. Don't get caught up in the political play by leaders. If they are in the most serious business in dethroning a government that has secured mandate from the people from the national general elections, they should be seriously applying the due process correctly. How can you make a small elementary grade 1 mistake and come out in the face of public and apologize after causing so much stress to business, to community, to public service, who are now almost stopping because there's a mooted conversation on possible change of government? I want to take this time to speak to our public service and our constitutional law office holders. You saw yesterday we remain at work.
Marape's dominant coalition government holds 103 seats in the 118-seat parliament, with 35 members of parliament under Pangu. After the defection of the 18, Marape still wields considerable influence over legislature and policy, but position is not immune to leadership challenges both from inside and outside his coalition as the 18 months grace period lapsed. The Prime Minister on Monday, May 27, decommissioned Paita from his cabinet position. Marape stated that Paita displayed a lack of respect for cabinet decorum by not submitting his resignation before leading the defection to the opposition.
After 59, only 12 went away. That's 36 or 20% of us that migrate elsewhere. Of the 12 that walked away, half and half. Half were independent candidates and other party candidates we got across. And so the party process is there. They will deal with it as it is. We'll follow the party constitution to deal with the membership. We did extend invitation to the 12 that has gone. They have the democratic right. They could come and say and what happened. They could formally resign themselves. It's entirely up to them.
Marape also decommissioned 5 other ministers, including Minister for Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Don Polye. In a media conference, Polye made a call to Pangu Party to address its grievances among its members.
The desperate issues of Papua New Guinea remain desperate, and those desperate issues must be addressed. There isn't any other issue at hand in the face of leadership today. And leadership in the present time as well as in the future. These following issues that affect our people remain very profoundly prominent that cannot escape the attention of leadership. Therefore, leadership has the duty to only focus on these areas at the present time to finding a solution to removing the sufferings that people of Papua New Guinea are going through.
On Tuesday, May 28, Parliament resumed. It was a normal Parliament session and the shortest in the history of PNG before the Speaker adjourned the session to Wednesday, May 29 at 10 a.m.
We will start off with this group. Yes. So from day one, 6 months, 3 months, but the orders would be there. Director, you will have to issue certain orders that are preventive orders to the neighboring tribes, not to other criminals anymore. You, by way of those orders, will be asked to work with me. Tell me where the firearms are. Who is buying guns and give it? If you don't, you are in breach of the law. Then my king and yes. And new things going to come into place. And everybody will now be a trial for himself, a man for himself.
Just a difference of opinion on how things were going, and we decided to take a different approach. Thus you find us in the opposition with like-minded leaders who will share this floor now. And I want to thank, when my team came out, Sir John Pundari with the Liberal Party joined us together and moved as a single unit. As I said yesterday, when people can talk about it, but what do you do? And we've been speaking about issues in the government, and when we agreed, some stayed back. And I want to place on record also my greatest appreciation to the 14 guys who are with me. One strong iron lady member for North Bougainville, and 13 strong leaders who placed their ministry portfolios on the line, who placed personal relationships. And I can agree with Governor Bird when he says it's nothing personal. We just want some things to change. Yeah?
The adjournment now paved the way for the opposition to submit to the Speaker, Job Pomat, a vote of no confidence motion on the Prime Minister. The opposition called a press conference and addressed the media on this. It also gave chance to the MP for Finsafen and alternate Prime Minister nominee Reinbo Paita to explain their move to the opposition. Paita said differing views had resulted in their decision to take a different approach and joined the like-minded leaders in the opposition. Paita further thanked East CP Governor Allen Bird, opposition leader Douglas Tomuriesa, and other MPs for having the confidence in him and bestowing him custody over the PM nominee position.
I want to thank Governor Bird and the leaders who had the confidence in my team and bestowed upon us custody over the nominee position. That nominee position doesn't belong to me, Reinbo Paita. It belongs to this group of members who we've assembled together. And as I said yesterday, one Prime Minister cannot change the country. It'll take a team. And I think the team is here for us to make change.
After the break, Prime Minister James Marape maintains numbers amidst defection of key members of his ruling party. While Parliament is adjourned to September 2024, opposition has filed its Supreme Court reference seeking interpretation of Speaker Job Pomat's decision on the motion of the vote of no confidence on the Prime Minister. The Marape-led government continues to stand the test of time, with 18 of their members from the Pangu party defected to the opposition on May 25, 2024. Finsafen MP and former Minister for Finance, Reinbo Paita, led the 18, 6 of whom held ministerial portfolios. After the defection of the 18, Marape still wields considerable influence over legislature and policy.
Prior to the resumption of Parliament on Tuesday, member for Mosby North East John Kaupa moved back to the Pangu camp at Loloata Resort out of Port Moresby. The other MPs who followed soon after were former MP for Kundiaba Gembok Dilu Mogova and condemned MP Don Collier. Hours before the Parliament session resumed on Tuesday, May 28, another 2 members of Pangu Party moved back to government. They are Tevai Siasi MP Dr. Kobe Bomareo and member for Kokopo, Eramanto Bining Jr. On Wednesday, May 29, the opposition filed the motion of a vote of no confidence and submitted to the Speaker. At lunchtime on Wednesday, the Private Business Committee deliberated on the motion and concluded it defective. It had only 11 signatures. Section 1451B of the Constitution was not met. Only 12 signatures were on the submission. The required number was 12 because it would be 1/10 of the total number of seats in Parliament. This is the third attempt by the opposition in filing a motion for a vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister. The opposition then resubmitted for a fourth time. The Private Business Committee deliberated on the submission on Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. The PBC again found the motion to be defective. This time, the name of Middlefly MP Maso Everby was incorrectly spelled.
So last week, order me talking business, me no can repeat him, and me no meet him one requirement. Where me talk law requirement number 5. And names belong all this 10%, which is 10% of the seats in Parliament, which is 12 or 11.8. So she put him exactly, but 11.8. You round him go, and 12 member. One blah is short law last week. Now you may already accept him, straight and we been 11 blah. Not exactly. Now. No, you read him decision belong you got on interpretation below you, me got below me read him decision below court and me talk imas also. But so si tu no one bello desla, but you must go back and long. Me one bello go back and long. Lord, today, committee sit down and find him out. Point number 1, am you right? Technical point number 1, you're right. Number 2, all right. Number 3, all right. Number 4, all right. Number 5, then you got legally aswak. Yes. So behind you can go look him. Now you talk me corn or me gaman or not. But also me like talk. Now me explain it. Me finish. Then you talk also me wrong. Time me look at me go. He got one blood name. He start. All this blood 10 blood is support him. And me name he turn him. Comedy looking. Now name me talk also. Horrible Hewabi Maso. You had me finish pen or you like in point of when
the decision of the Private Business Committee brought on an uproar in the chamber from opposition MPs claiming the decision of the committee was biased.
If you ask the people of Western Province, who is Hewabi Maso? All by showing you. If you ask the people of Papua New Guinea, who is Francisca Semoso? All by pointing them The only people in the country that are confused as to who these MPs are seems to be yourself and the government. You blame us away.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, you are making a mockery of yourself and in the eyes of the people of the country. Look, stop now. You're making mockery.
Thank you.
You talk of them. You blame us away. Who cite them Hewabi Maso? Now who cite them Francisca Semoso? You are saying you don't know who these people are, and they are present in the chamber.
The Supreme Court decision where you've been citing, Polia versus Zurunwo, instead of this judgment, court yet to talk the duties of the when it comes to a matter of national importance, such as the VONC. The committee can be ignored. The notice gets to the clerk, and the clerk can take it to the speaker. Go and read it! But that's the spirit of the judgment, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. You are correct. You are correct.
I would like to understand and think that it was the same committees who met last time, correct? Mm-hmm. And you as chairman and deputy speaker as deputy chairman presided over that committee. Now the way the addition was structured, you boxed the committee in saying, 1, am you right? 2, you right? 3, you right? 4, am you right? 5, that's all. Am you no right because some name is missing. The committee in its wisdom should have then said, no, must be you know stop straight. Francis you know stop straight. But you qualified all the other 4.
Exactly.
You qualified all the other 4, Mr. Speaker. The committee qualified all the other 4. Now you are saying you are looking back on 1, 2, 3, and 4. Mr. Speaker, you have to be consistent with your ruling. And that's unanswered. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Stand in order, they may give him guide, but all members in the process of parliamentary meeting must go. We like Sawe or some whether stand in order in the Appalachian Constitution or Now, opposition decision law, Supreme Court. Constitution talk very clearly how the motion of no confidences must be taken. Now, Supreme Court is working decision law you finish. Now, you yet somewhere also, there's a committee you chairing, Mr. Speaker, and one party that's only got a membership inside. Now, some politically politics stuff, but there is a fact, Mr. Speaker. You know what my man can do, some noise no here. There's claim, legally something. Suppose country, now leaders for country, got confidence for government, only got right to express in this law or this law.
I want to take you back to Standing Order 96.
Yes.
If you look at the title above there, that part relates to rulings on points of order. Your ruling here is not in respect of a point of order, but the decision of a private business committee. You're not making a ruling on a point of order. You're making a ruling on a decision that's made by the private business committee.
Of all the points raised by the opposition MPs, the Speaker agreed with their argument. He then made a ruling that the motion of the vote of no confidence be listed in the notice paper for deliberation the next day.
Decision blamiam by me no entertain him decision the committee. Now me ask him that this law notice motion by golo notice tomorrow, but me at bagolo court lo ask him court lo interpret him decision the committee na me whether me play right or me play wrong. Na lo despla.
However, Prime Minister James Marape called for a dissentment on the Speaker's decision and allow Parliament to vote on the decision.
I respectfully appreciate the dilemma you are caught up in, Mr. Speaker, but the committee work, you are the chair of the committee, and so I'd like to propose move a dissent in your decision, Mr. Speaker. Members of the opposition, every transaction on the floor of Parliament is conducted by vote. You have an opportunity now to produce a number you say you have. And this is a test of number. You have an opportunity. We're moving a dissent to Mr. Speaker respectfully to you.
This did not go down well with the opposition, and they proceeded to walk out of the Parliament chambers while the Speaker coordinated the vote. All 69 MPs voted in favor.
Favor of the motion of Sam Desala notice of VONC inokan sablo notice paper tomorrow against him decision block committee.
Speaker Palmer then clarified that because the opposition had different views on the decision, he will be seeking the court's interpretation on which is the correct view. He said if the courts are in favor of the opposition's view, he will tender his resignation as Speaker of Parliament.
Based on that, me repeat him again, I'm going to the court tomorrow. Lo ask him court, lo interpret him all this blah. Look, so we have to do it right. Because I don't like something is sapolsena behind time, you may go na. You may set him president, now this lah. Am I wrong? My concern is I want us to do it right. The Parliament must do it right. The Parliament must be seen to be independent in its discharging its responsibilities. Not influenced by government, no opposition. Now a lot of members will give point of order. I agree with some of the point of orders, all members. Like one of them, for me today, we've been sitting here for the last 2 or 3 weeks now, and you may all no one is working. No one is working. Our people out there are suffering. The government is not working. And to me, the Section 145 of the Constitution is the most destabilizing law in this country. Maybe it was put by our forefathers at the time, it was okay. But nowadays, no. Every 18 months, there must be a vote of no confidence. And those who have been there in the past, like the honorable member for Yalibu Pangia, is not here, had experienced this. Now, the Honorable James Marape is experiencing the same thing. And tomorrow, another person becomes the Prime Minister, will experience the same thing that every 18 months he counts down on the months from day one when he's elected. and we don't concentrate on delivering our policies to our people, saving our people, but we concentrate on managing numbers. So me talk him clock finish, and if I still remain a speaker based on the decision of the court, me talk by me blah holy one blah. Forum or seminar, workshop, something lo parliament, ask him, oh, got the survey line, do you come? Now put him questions. Equal on all that section 145, now 63 block calling of government for me, government, are they consistent or not?
Meantime, the opposition has filed its Supreme Court reference seeking interpretation of Speaker Job Pomat's decision on the motion of the vote of no confidence on Prime Minister James Marape. Parliament returns September 3rd, 2024 at 2 p.m.
After the break, tempers flare as debate heats up on the floor of Parliament.
Honourable members, the question is that the motion be agreed to. Say aye. Those against, no. Ayes have it.
The House was quiet as North Bougainville female MP Francisca Samoso questioned why it has taken the Parliament this long to vote on the referendum results of 2019, which saw 97.7% of voters voting for Bougainville's independence.
Now you're talking me on some the constitution of Papua New Guinea doesn't say we should give one province independence. Well, change the bloody damn law. Change the constitution. You talk no well on me, then how do you sort me out? The unforgivable sin that this country has done to its own people of Bougainville is sending the soldiers to try and stop in war. How could you do that?
This question alone drew debate from both sides of the House, some supporting the call by Samoso, while others explaining and defining what it would take to reach that stage.
You asked the referendum question, Bougainville shall be independent. Second question, Bougainville shall have greater autonomy, when those answers to these two questions were not qualified in law. What do you mean by independence when the Constitution does not provide for any part of this country to disintegrate?
We can try to define words on this floor, but be mindful that the people of Bougainville are actually watching us on camera right now as we talk about this issue. That to them means everything. Why do I say that? Not one single member of parliament has been elected with a 97% majority. Not one. First time in history of this country, a whole people agreed on one issue alone. Independence. 97.7%.
Minister for Bougainville Affairs Manasseh Makiba during question time separately answered some of the questions by Samoso. He said the issue with progressing the referendum results further was that there was no law in the Constitution to allow this to happen.
Now the issue was that there is no procedure in the standing orders of this Parliament, as well as the enabling constitutional provision, particular section 342 of the Constitution. It doesn't provide the procedure or the process by which that referendum result will be brought in for ratification. Now,
he said Bougainville leaders were already briefed on this, and they resolved in the last joint supervisory body meeting to find a way for Parliament to establish an appropriate procedure. Prime Minister James Marape also explained why there was a delay and provided an update on where the government was in terms of the referendum results.
Minister Manasseh and Papua New Guinea side, we're trying to reconcile the voting result with the peace agreement themselves and the constitutional provision of Bougainville and the rest of the constitutional provision we have in our constitution.
He highlighted that the PNG Constitution, established before independence in 1975, defines the sovereignty that the country enjoys today, and a vote on the sovereignty of a country is a constitutional vote. He therefore urged all MPs to think about the entire issue as one day each of them will be asked to vote for this.
Now, me talking about Bougainville leadership, are you willing to accept the result of the parliament if we take it in? Also, me asking you, all members of parliament, are we willing to step into this? I want to ask all of us to step back and think about the entire issue in totality. And I have some issue that I must deal with. A question posed to us by certain provinces of autonomy. What is the next step beyond autonomy? We must secure this country from conversation that is stopped at autonomy and nothing more. Bougainville is a pace setter for our country. They are separate, we leave them exclusive in respect to their path, but for the rest of the country, it is our responsibility to ring-fence our sovereignty. It is our responsibility, whilst we simultaneously, concurrently handle the Bougainville matter, we must ring-fence the rest of the country. An island full of gold may think he is or she is qualified for independence. A province full of a pot of oil and gas may feel that at the barrel of a gun I could call for truce, and then suddenly after truce, let me have referendum. You know, this referendum is defined in our constitution.
Prime Minister Marape concluded by stating that Bougainville and PNG had agreed to involve a mediator to determine the necessary number required for a decision.